Hi, I'm Mike Capizzola, and you're watching Pink Diamond, the show where we help you find the diamonds in the rough of the pink sheet and small cap market. This week, we're revisiting a unique investment business that's jumped some 90% since our last report on it back in July earlier this year. That company is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, an investment trust established back in 2013, which to some extent has been overshadowed by the publicity surrounding the asset class it invests in. With Bitcoin breaking the $14,000 handle, media attention is back on the digital asset, and as a result, this closed-ended investment vehicle that tracks the US dollar value of the world's leading cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, is being eyed by investors again. Despite being OTC listed, Grayscale is no minnow and has some $6.5 billion in assets under management. Over the last 5 years, the trust's shares have appreciated by more than 2,900%, and that performance has been driven by the rise in the value of the cryptocurrency itself, which has risen by more than 4,000% over the same period. Unlike an open-ended ETF, the number of shares or units in an investment trust is broadly fixed, and that number does not fluctuate based on flows into or out of the trust as it happens in an ETF. Instead, the value of the trust's shares reflects changes in the valuation of their underlying assets and the level of demand among investors who want to own those shares. The trust's shares trade at either a premium or discount to the value of its underlying Bitcoin holdings. At the moment, the shares trade at a premium to this net asset value, as they have done for the majority of the time since 2017. That premium is currently around $2.40 a share. The reason that the premium exists is that many investors want to have exposure to cryptocurrencies but don't feel comfortable with the thought of trading, owning, and securing Bitcoin. Instead, they prefer to pay a premium to own shares in a familiar vehicle whose price reflects changes in Bitcoin's value and the market's sentiment towards them. Bitcoin, of course, was the original cryptocurrency, and unlike many other coins that have appeared subsequently, its supply is strictly limited and finite. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever be mined, and just over 18.5 million of those coins have been mined or discovered to date. There is much debate about the value or otherwise of Bitcoin, but after more than a decade in circulation, the cryptocurrency is moving towards the financial mainstream and is increasingly being seen as an alternative form of money in the same way that gold and silver are. Indeed, some of the world's leading central banks are openly discussing how they can create and use digital currencies of their own. Investing luminaries such as Paul Tudor Jones and businesses such as PayPal and Square have recently become very interested in Bitcoin themselves. It's probably no coincidence then that Trackstar, our proprietary search tracking software, has highlighted 66 recent searches for information about the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, made by 39 individual institutional investors. Over the last month, the shares have risen by 42.5%, and they're up by 3.8% in the last week. We've also seen plenty of new highs posted, with 3 coming up in the last week and a dozen in the last month. Alternative assets tend to do well in times of market uncertainty and heightened volatility. And with no end in sight to the pandemic and the potential for the election result being contested, there is every possibility that we may encounter those conditions during the remaining weeks of 2020. That's all we have time for today, folks. To find out more about our Trackstar IQ data, sign up for our free newsletter at investingchannel.com/Trackstar. Small and micro-cap stocks can be high-risk investments, so before you make any decisions, please ensure you do your own due diligence.